Number 1, Marvin Heemeyer. The killdozer maker Marvin Heemeyer had spent years at odds with his neighbors, town officials, and the press in Granby, Colorado. After one final injustice, he sold his land and dedicated 18 months to turning a bulldozer into a fortress-like weapon. Reinforced with concrete and steel, equipped with cameras, firearm slots, and stocked with supplies, it became the infamous A Killdozer. In 2004, he unleashed it on Granby, tearing through buildings linked to his enemies, including the town hall, the concrete plant, and the former mayor's house. Though no one was killed, the destruction totaled nearly $7 million. When the vehicle got stuck in debris, Marvin ended his own life. As one witness put it, he never said he'd armor it, just that he'd take a bulldozer and flatten the town. Number 2, Olga of Kiev. The saint who annihilated a tribe in 945, Igor, Prince of Kiev, confronted the Drevlians for failing to pay tribute. After initially securing payment, he returned for more, only to be executed. His widow, Olga, assumed power and quickly plotted vengeance. The Drevlians sent envoys to exploit the chaos, but Olga tricked each group and had them slaughtered. Later, she invited thousands to Igor's funeral rites, only for her forces to massacre them. Over the course of a year, Olga's army crushed the Drevlians completely, burning their settlements to the ground. She later converted to Christianity and was canonized a saint. Number 3, Julius Caesar. From captive to executioner before becoming Rome's ruler, Julius Caesar traveled to Greece to study oratory, but pirates captured him for ransom. When he heard the price they demanded, Caesar laughed, not because it was impossible, but because it was insultingly low. He insisted they raise it, knowing his worth. For 38 days, he warned the pirates that once freed, he would crucify them. They dismissed his threats. After his ransom was paid, Caesar raised a fleet, hunted them down, and carried out his promise, executing them all. Number 4, Ken McElroy. The town that struck back Ken McElroy terrorized Skidmore, Missouri, for decades. He was accused of countless crimes. Theft. In 1981, after appealing a conviction for attempting to kill shopkeeper Ernest Bowenkamp, McElroy escalated his intimidation campaign against the town. Finally, the townspeople had enough. While he sat in his truck with his wife, McElroy was shot multiple times. Dozens witnessed the killing, but no one came forward, and to this day, the shooter has never been identified. Number 5, Alan Ralsky, spammed by the internet email spam, is one of the world's biggest nuisances, and Alan Ralsky was once dubbed the ass spam king. At his peak, he was sending nearly 1 billion junk emails a day. But in 2002, after an interview with the Detroit News revealed his home address, people took revenge by signing him up for countless mailing lists. Soon his house was drowning in catalogs and advertisements, giving him a taste of his own medicine. In 2009, Ralsky was sentenced to 4 years in prison for fraud, money laundering, and spamming. Number 6, Jean de Clisson. The Lioness of Brittany in 1343, Jean de Clisson's husband, Olivier, was executed by King Philip VI of France for alleged treason. She assembled a fleet with her flagship named My Revenge and turned to piracy against the French. For years, she captured and destroyed their vessels, earning the title of the Lioness of Brittany. Eventually, the French sank My Revenge, leaving Jean and her sons adrift for days. Yet she refused to abandon her campaign and continued her assaults for years afterward. Number 7, Udham Singh. The avenger of a massacre in 1919, British troops massacred hundreds of unarmed protesters at Jallianwala Bagh in India, killing as many as 1,500 and wounding thousands more. Among those scarred by the atrocity was Udham Singh, who vowed vengeance against Michael O'Dwyer, the lieutenant governor of Punjab at the time. While living in London in 1940, Singh concealed a firearm inside a book and attended a speech given by O'Dwyer. He shot him dead on the spot, injuring several others. Singh was arrested, tried, and executed, but he remained unapologetic, declaring his act was justice for his people. Number 8, Genghis Khan. The empire erased in 1218, Genghis Khan sent merchants to trade with the Khwarezmian Empire, J. Instead of welcoming them, the governor of Otrar arrested the caravan, accused them of treason, and executed them. Furious, but hoping to avoid war, Genghis sent envoys to the ruler, Muhammad II. One ambassador was killed, and the others were humiliated. Enraged, Genghis Khan led his armies in a full-scale invasion. The Mongols decimated the Khwarezmian Empire, razed cities, and executed Muhammad's officials. In a single campaign, the Khwarezmians were wiped from history. Number 9, the Dachau Liberation. Soldiers' fury in 1945. As U.S. forces approached the Dachau concentration camp, they discovered unspeakable horrors. Thousands of corpses, emaciated survivors, and evidence of mass killings. The stench alone was unbearable. Overcome with rage, American soldiers and some freed prisoners took matters into their own hands. Reports vary, but it is believed between 35 and 50 SS guards were executed in what became known as the Dachau Massacre. For the soldiers, it was a moment of unrestrained vengeance after witnessing the depths of Nazi brutality. Number 10, the 47 Ronin. Samurai justice, one of Japan's most legendary tales, is rooted in truth. In 1701, their master, Asano Naganori, was forced to commit seppuku after an altercation with the ruthless Kira Yoshinaka. For more than a year, Sano's loyal samurai, now Ronin, waited patiently, pretending to live ordinary lives so Kira would let down his guard. Then, in 1703, they launched their attack, defeating Kira's men and capturing him. Offered the chance to die with honor, Kira refused, so the Ronin executed him and presented his head at Asano's grave. All 47 Ronin were sentenced to death, but allowed to die honorably by seppuku, cementing their story as one of loyalty and revenge. Number 11, Phalaris and the Brazen Bull. Phalaris, the tyrant of Akragas in ancient Sicily, commissioned a craftsman named Perilos to build a new device of execution. A hollow bronze bull designed to roast victims alive while their screams echoed as a bull's roar. When the gruesome invention was complete, Phalaris decided to test it on Perilos himself. The craftsman who dreamed up the torture became its first victim. Later, when Phalaris was overthrown, he too was executed in the very same brazen bull, consumed by the cruelty he had unleashed. Number 12, the Crow tribe and Fort Parker in the 1800s. Settlers and native tribes often clashed. When members of the Crow tribe lost kin to violent raids, they struck back with merciless precision. A raid on Fort Parker saw them reclaim prisoners and retaliate against those who had wronged them. Oral histories tell of justice meted out in brutal but calculated ways. For the Crow, it wasn't blind savagery. It was vengeance rooted in balance, restoring honor after deep personal losses. Number 13, William Wallace. Scotland's rebel avenger immortalized in legend and film, William Wallace led Scotland's fight against English rule in the late 1200s. After his wife was executed by occupying forces, Wallace's resistance turned personal. He launched raids, killed English soldiers, and became a symbol of defiance. Captured in 1305, he was tried for treason and subjected to one of history's cruelest executions, hanged, drawn, and quartered. Yet Wallace's brutal death only fueled Scotland's determination, and his name remains tied to freedom and vengeance centuries later. Number 14, the blood feud of the Hatfields and McCoys in late 1800s America. Two families along the West Virginia-Kentucky border became locked in one of the most famous blood feuds in history. What began with small disputes escalated into shootings, arsons, and murders. Both clans sought vengeance for each new offense, creating a cycle of violence that lasted decades. By the time the feud subsided, at least a dozen people were dead, and the Hatfields and McCoys had become a symbol of relentless revenge passed down through generations. Number 15, Elizabeth Bathory, the blood countess in 16th century Hungary. Elizabeth Bathory, a wealthy noblewoman, became infamous for her cruelty. Stories spread that she tortured and murdered young women, with some legends claiming she bathed in their blood to preserve her youth. Though many details are exaggerated, the evidence of her crimes was undeniable. When authorities finally acted, she was sealed away in her castle until her death. The relatives of her victims saw justice not through trial, but through confinement, ensuring Bathory never harmed another soul. Number 16, Vlad, the Impaler, terror as Retribution Vlad III of Wallachia, better known as Vlad the Impaler, gained infamy in the 15th century for his brutal tactics. When the Ottoman Empire threatened his rule, Vlad struck back with calculated cruelty. He captured thousands of enemies and impaled them on giant stakes, leaving their corpses lining the roads as a warning. For his people, it was ruthless justice against invaders. For his enemies, it was sheer terror. His legend inspired the Dracula myth, but in his time, it was vengeance that cemented his name in history. Number 17, the assassination of Reinhard Heydrich. Reinhard Heydrich, one of the architects of the Holocaust, was nicknamed the Butcher of Prague. In 1942, Czech resistance fighters trained by the British launched Operation Anthropoid to eliminate him. As Heydrich rode through Prague, they attacked his car with explosives, fatally wounding him. In retaliation, the Nazis massacred entire villages, including Ludus, killing thousands. Though the cost was devastating, the operation proved that even the most feared Nazi leaders were not untouchable. Number 18, Samson's last act, the biblical tale of Samson, is one ultimate revenge. Betrayed by Delilah, captured by the Philistines, and blinded, Samson was brought in chains to their temple to be mocked during a feast. Standing between two pillars, he prayed for strength one last time. With a mighty push, he collapsed the temple, killing himself along with thousands of Philistines. It was an act of vengeance so powerful it echoed through scripture as both a tragedy and a triumph. Number 19, the vendetta of the Sicilian Mafia in Sicily. Vengeance was not just personal, it was cultural. The Mafia's code of omerta meant that blood feuds and honor killings stretched across generations. Betrayals, assassinations, and retaliations created cycles of violence that define the island's history. For the Mafia, revenge wasn't spontaneous rage, it was methodical, strategic, and merciless. Entire families rose and fell in the name of settling old scores, making Sicilian vendettas some of the most feared in the modern world. Number 20, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Revenge on a global scale when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941. Over 2,400 Americans were killed, shocking the United States into war. 4 years later, after brutal fighting in the Pacific, the U.S. sought to end the conflict decisively. In August 1945, atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing over 100,000 people instantly and many more in the aftermath. While framed as a way to end the war swiftly, for many Americans, it also symbolized devastating revenge for Pearl Harbor. The act reshaped world history and remains the most catastrophic retaliation ever carried out.